This is a team with the most amount of possible variance. They can go up, they can go down, depending on how the coaching works. How efficient is Yamato as a coach? Right now, he has a lot to prove. He gets a fresh roster, no playstyle embedded into it in LCS right now, not much experience. He can mold that to the perfect little Yamato squad, so we need to see if that works.
A lot of little Yamato cans running around. I'm not sure how I feel about that one, but
if they all have the same voice,
then you know what? Maybe we can get a quartet or a sextet going, if you will. We've got a lot of bans going very, very quickly. Trundle's off the board. Kindred, of course, we expect the permaban. The Shen's taken away. GP, Lulu, Lissandra, all standard stuff so far, but that does leave the Ryze open, and it is instantly picked up on Splyce.
Yeah, very little surprises so far. Tahm Kench being hovered. We saw it in the LCK. Duke played it already. We saw it earlier today, too, on Kikis. Just gets incredibly tanky. Really hard to take down, and once you're almost there, he pops that great health for another shield.
True, and it is still a very flexible pick. Of course, we could also see Trashy going back to his old favorite, newly changed champion. I really want to see him play top Poppy. Please do it. But if these two picks go through, it's not going to happen.
Yeah, probably not, because Alistar is technically a flex top laner. Tahm Kench is a flex top laner support. Tahm Kench's jungle technically exists, so don't give up just yet.
All right.
Still hope.
There is hope.
There is.
I like what I'm hearing.
A sliver of hope right there. But yeah, Alistar probably going to Hylissang because he was a good Alistar player overall. Just a strong support right now, especially if Trundle's out, which is one of the better laners into Ali. I like to pick up double tank already. And that opens up for Diamondprox to potentially play as Nidalee, which was a fantastic champion for him.
It's true. It was mostly in the spring, but he played it to great effect. He had a good early game on it, and then he built it late game with the Rod of Ages. We've got a Poppy locked in, though, on the side of Splyce, so Unicorns won't have a chance for that one.
Yeah, at least you got your Poppy.
Yeah, it's still a Poppy. I'm happy. And do we expect this to go in the support? I mean, we've got the Ryze still flex pick. Poppy can, of course, go 3 roles. Nothing really is revealed except Lucian here.
I mean, likely, I don't think it lanes well into Tahm Kench top at all. It doesn't like Poppy is all about burst. So in top lane, what you want to do is pop your W, walk next to the guy, and be like, if you don't run away right now, I will ram you into that wall. That's not going to happen against Tahm Kench. He will just end up eating you. So definitely Poppy support here, combined with the Lucian, the strongest AD carry on this patch. Kalista, again, is blocked right now. Poppy support blocks the choice of Kalista unless you can really work around that W. So likely going to see something like Ezreal, maybe Corki come out.
Don't do the Kalista. There we go.
Do it. If you cannot play, if you can send the message. I like Kalista, but it's so hard to play.
We haven't seen Steelback in EU pretty much since MSI. He did play in North America for a little bit, but this is kind of his second chance, if you will, to show himself on the stage. He had a rough time at MSI, but admittedly that was against some of the world's best AD carries. So
yeah, he showed some progression with Fnatic as a cleanup AD carry. He got a lot of flack then, because at MSI he was clearly outclassed. Then went to NA Challenger, which is slightly below the level of MSI, and did well there. Now it's redemption time in EU. Gravity Chamber goes up a little bit again, a little harder.
It turns it back up.
See how he performs.
Diamondprox has got himself a fairly standard jungler in that Elise pickup, so we're not going to see any Nidalee shenanigans today. It's not from him.
So, fun interaction, since you like your Poppy. Elise's Q is technically a gap closer, so it gets cancelled by Poppy W.
Ah, yes.
As opposed to the Ezreal Arcane Shift, which is a blink. Poppy concept, that's why Steelback went for that pick into the Poppy support.
All right. The real question now, if they do end up blocking the Rek'Sai, is where is their last pick going? Do they take the Ryze for Wunderwear or for Sencux? And it looks like, ooh, the Varus. We haven't really thought about that too much, but it has been played in a lot of poke compositions, and I'm not really sure where it fits in here when they've got
Yamato has
wants to run at them.
It's like, Sencux, I know you want to outplay people, but you're on my team now. You're going to play that poke champion, control mage in the mid lane.
Yeah.
Listen to your coach, boy. And yeah, Varus locked in.
So that's done. They've got their full composition lined up. We see where those are going. And now the last thing to see is, where does Fox go? Does he take this very safe Orianna pick? He still have a lot of trouble with the poke, or does he go for something that can also answer back? Maybe he takes the Ezreal and they decide to shuffle their AD carry.
I think Ezreal mid is dead and gone. Hopefully, not the biggest fan of that pick. I would like to see something more aggressive. Unicorns of Love have a good tanky front line. If they get behind, though, the Orianna Ezreal will be lacking in damage, I feel. But they actually have the makings for a good pick comp if they go for some hyper-aggressive mid laner here. Like LeBlanc or potentially Ari.
Yeah, possibility. But still,
dreams alive.
Telling you it can happen. I don't make accurate predictions often, Crepo, but when they do happen,
they're very accurate.
100% of the time.
100%.
Ah, it's a Zed. Okay.
See, I like it. I like it. More action, more excitement.
There we go. We get an assassin locked in.
Into a non-gap closing AD carry in the mid lane. Combine that with Elise, who can repel into the lane. Flash Cocoon. So many plays to be made. So it will be hard for Trashy to keep Sencux alive, and Sencux will have to play at maximum range.
Yeah, but you know, not for nothing. A lot of people are looking at this guy as the next great EU mid laner, but he's going to have to prove himself on the LCS stage. So far, he's only been showing it off in Challenger, but you know, they did manage to have a very, very successful run in that Challenger series to get here.
Yeah, and back to the bot lane, cool interaction too is that usually when you see a melee support engage, the response from an Alistar will be to knock away the AD carry, wait for them to walk back, and then knock both of them up with Pulverize. However, if Poppy positions well with W, Alistar's W in turn gets cancelled, also a gap closer. So you can really screw up the Alistar combos, so we need to see if Hylissang can opt around that or start roaming. Yeah,
well, Hilly is definitely going to be someone who has to put a lot of things on his back, because we talked about how great of a player he was on Unicorns, but he was a bit inconsistent.
Very inconsistent.
And he now has to really step it up and play at his all 100% of the time, as the coaches, Sheepy and Yamato Cannon, experienced all, will walk off the stage together and hope their team takes it out. Now, why don't you at home tell us what you think? Tweet your predictions and prophecy at LOL Esports, hashtag SPY win or UOL win, if you think Splyce or Unicorns are going to take this one home.
And yeah, if you're used to Fox being a very passive player later in summer and you didn't really see anything of him, he was 5-0 in the spring split on Zed overall, so he definitely can play that champion. That was obviously when SK was doing incredibly well, so take it with a pinch of salt. But we could see some action, and that is why Sencux is running with the exhaust, because he's scared of the assassination.
Scared or not, they're going to have to face off. The team spawn up onto the rift. We'll have to see who takes this one home. The newcomer Splyce are the old boys at this point, Unicorns of Love, with some new faces on their side.
Yep, redemption around Diamondprox. Can he do it? Can he perform on this Elise?
You never thought you'd hear the phrase Diamondprox is a big question mark, but he really is, just because he's had such a binary year.
A lot of people gave him times like a start. Yeah, you know, it's just a slip up. It's still Diamondprox, the best jungler in the world, but
no more
honestly,
excuses.
The last 2 years, he's left a lot to be desired. Starts with the Hunter's Talisman. Steals health. Not the standard machete that we usually see. I've seen Elise start both.
We'll have to see how they decide to start the lanes off. But, you know, talking about this Splyce team, too, obviously newcomers into the LCS, as we just said, but they only made the one change. They kept it all Danish. They're the only national squad in the LCS. We know that they have, you know, this camaraderie amongst themselves, and we know that with Yamato at the helm, experienced coach that he now is, he should be able to bring them together and like Pulse was saying, kind of mold them the way that he wants.
Yep.
But the question remains, like, how long have they been working with him? How long are they going to have that cohesion? And now that he's out, his voice is out of the game for the time being, do they maybe fall back into some of the things that sunk them, taking longer times to win their games, fixating on dragons, which isn't really going to be a good idea in this meta?
Yeah, what do you do when those sultry bass tones disappear from your headphones? You suddenly have to think for yourself. But as with any team we see this week, we got to give them some time. You can't make immediate judgments. You just see a small amount of the bigger picture right now, and we need 2 or 3 weeks before we can honestly start judging these teams. Nisbeth finds Hylissang. Hylissang did the perks together with Steelback. We are in a double lane swap scenario, so the lanes are normal but upside down. Kobbe and Nisbeth did not get a camp. See here a little interaction with the Poppy. Obviously, you can throw that shield out every so often and a little harass. Also counts as a melee attack, so you can get a relic proc from afar with that shield. Makes it very easy for Poppy to generate those relic stacks.
The Australia lane situation. We'll have to see if Steelback can deal with Kobbe and Nisbeth. This is a very dangerous lane with the Lucian. With the Poppy, Hilly's going to have his work cut out for him. Or will he just sacrifice and go on a roaming spree as we thought he might? But Steelback, he needs to farm up. He's needing to get this tier early on. We saw what happened when Ezreal couldn't get an early tier earlier today.
Yeah, definitely won't be roaming too much because I think Steelback will just get straight up dove. Trashy gets spotted by a ward here, presumably placed by Diamondprox earlier. So knowledge on the side of Unicorns of Love. They have the information right now because Diamond's in the dark.
Trashy will be able to clear out that Scuttle Crab early on. Pretty standard move. It was popularized by Rainover earlier on last year when quick jungle camps, clearing out the vision. Don't need to spend the ward early
Scuttle
on.
Don't fight back.
It doesn't. It runs away, though, real fast sometimes, and not always the way you want it. Chachi and Wunderwear should have pretty much just a happy slap fest for a little while, as Wunder's going to need some time for himself to also scale up. A lot of tiers this game.
Yeah, the risk in a Tahm Kench matchup is that you allow him to get 2 stacks and then he keeps walking on you. And then the threat of the 3rd stack makes it impossible for you to trade back. So definitely want to avoid a Q auto effect there. So hide behind the minions is paramount for Wunderwear.
Diamond is a creeping crawling up to the top. Kobbe and Nisbeth have already backed off a little bit here. I don't think he's going to be able to get much done.
No, he's in counter gank mode right now. He's hoping that Rek'Sai reveals himself across the tunnel because a pushing lane has the Raptor buff, knows he can spot wards. Spots that ward eventually, goes back to his jungle later on. So far nothing. We see some pressure from Fox in the mid lane. But that's a big wave from Sencux. If he can get like half of this, he can actually even out the CS.
This is definitely a lane I want to keep my eye on this game. Sencux takes a little bit extra damage from Fox's Shadow proc there. And
good pressure by Fox.
Yeah, we haven't seen a ton of Zeds, and this is a good pick into a very immobile champion like Varus. Obviously, you could get locked up very quickly once he hits 6, the Chains of Corruption. Sencux is a very strong player, but this is Fox's chance to say, hey, I'm here, I am very relevant, and I can be a very strong carry-oriented mid laner. That's something that Unicorns really need on their squad.
Yeah, definitely winning matchup for Zed in the early game without any jungle interaction. Obviously, if he uses his Shadow to harass, that's when he opens himself up for ganks, but that's when Diamondprox needs to be there to back Fox up.
Absolutely. Just continues to send it out. WE combo. Very deadly. Sencux won't get 100 to 0'd very easily, but Fox is just laughing it up right now. He's got the level advantage. He's got CS lead.
100 to 0, not yet. Once Zed hits level 6, that's when it gets dangerous. Prox now. Get behind Wunderwear.
Wunder has no idea this is coming. Has to know now. The tongue lash is out. The spiderlings are on. Flashing forward. Vizicsacsi is looking to eat somebody, and he does manage to pick up first blood. Yeah. 5 minutes on the clock.
No flash from Wunderwear. Immediate reaction from Trashy pathing down, but look at Fox. He was ready to join that party. He was ready to counter gank So really good movement, and that's because he was initially pushing mid lane. Sencux was pressured, so fantastic move. Maybe Wunderwear could have gotten out of it if he used Flash, but he chose to preserve it.
Still keeping fairly even with Chachi in the CS department right now. There isn't a lot of latent threat from the Tahm Kench other than obviously getting those couple of stacks on you, but it changes the game when Diamondprox is there, and he helps out secure that first blood. Trashy, meanwhile, will go on a jungle invade spree just to grab some vision, but he still doesn't know where Diamondprox is.
Yeah, hey, that's what we were talking about. He spent so little time interacting with his laners. Right now, he probably spent more time within that 2,000 range a unit range rather than he did in many of the games last summer.
Yeah, maybe he's learned his lesson. That's the big thing. So
maybe he has a better team, you know. Maybe it wasn't him.
Hey, you know, Gambit towards the end. It's funny, Splyce obviously purchasing, or rather, Vitality was purchasing that Gambit spot, and then all kind of went haywire after that. Diamondprox managed to find this team, and they said they really were interested in picking him up. They really wanted him here as Nisbeth throws down his W. The defense there, Fox back in the bush. Uh-oh, there's a couple of stacks. Chachi wants to take another bite out of Wunder, but he won't be able to get it. Has to settle for a minion. Just a snack.
You saw it in top lane right there, the zone from Hylissang, threatening the double combo. Nisbeth says, nope, I have W, you can't combo.
Not this time, so haven't seen that Poppy excellently used so far. Kobbe and Nisbeth will take some damage from the headbutt pulse combo. Hylissang gets fire returned on him, but Steelback is nice and healthy, which means he can keep jumping forward as he pleases for the time being, just continuing her harass. But Diamondprox is also here. Are they looking to set up a dive, Crepo?
Yeah, they're definitely looking to get something out of this. No, not really expected, so they need to push him in. Land some zones. Steelback low on mana though, and it's incredibly difficult to dive a Poppy. Remember, you can cancel the Elise Q in Spider form with Poppy W.
They know it's coming. Gotta be targeting the Kobbe. Instantly heals. They look for Nisbeth now as they turn their attention. There goes the knock-up on the Poppy. Should be going down. Diamondprox changes the direction of the tower aggro, but Hilly's gonna go down as well. Kobbe has flashed, but he now is in trouble as he's outside the range of his tower. Steelback picks him up, and all of a sudden, Fox flips the switch. Gets exhausted, gets chained, but Sencux is low. Sencux is ignited. And now, no one will go down in the mid lane.
Yep, just exchange of ultimates, exchange of summoners, but Fox still has the pressure. Always pushing that mid lane, especially if he sees that the junglers were top.
2-for-1 summoner trade. Sencux had to burn both his flash and his exhaust very quickly on that one. But, and his ult, of course. Fox just used his ignite, didn't get the kill, but he did return fire. That was a really nice arrow at the end of it that nailed Fox right down the middle, so he was able to make sure he couldn't jump back in on him as healthy as he could. Take a look at at this mid lane and just adjacent to it too. You can see Diamondprox and Hylissang hanging out here too. Really just clearing the wards out, making sure that Splyce doesn't have any more information than they want to give him. A slight lead to Unicorns, thanks to that kill differential. The action in the top lanes really permitted that, but now you see the swap back. Yep. Chachi and Wunderwear both on the top side. Everything else is normal again, and we've turned the earth back right side up.
Everything is normal again. Steelback here in the bottom. Hylissang went for a little ward clear spree. Nisbeth got a ward of his own. Lane is a bit of an awkward position because there's enough distance for Tahm Kench to chase the Ryze down, but Wunderwear may use that to his advantage to bait out Vizicsacsi here because Trashy is waiting in the wings.
Waiting in the wings indeed. The thing about a Rek'Sai, you can never really tell She's going to be coming right out the bush at you since that ultimate has so much mobility available. Chachi takes a lot of damage, but he goes right back on in, and that's the bait. Can he get his gray health on? The knockup is there. He's got to pop it. He's just barely able to do it, and now they've got to back away. Man, if there was just a little bit more CC there, it would have been fish food.
Yeah, this is why this matchup's actually pretty strong, because Ryze is a champion that when he gets to you and he can chain CC you, he can burst you down, but there's so much health on Tahm Kench already. Then he pops the gray health on top of that. It's impossible to burst him down, really.
Diamondprox definitely focusing on the 2v2 lane right here. He shows face, but the ward and the try had him covered, so Unicorns have 3 members on the bottom side just pushing. They did force him back, and that's a great move for them to continue this lead regardless. They've got themselves 1,500 ahead. Trashy's counter jungling, but that's a poor trade for a bottom tower.
Yeah, Trashy right now 0-0, no impact in the game, no threatening, just a couple counter ganks trying to be set up, whereas Diamondprox, we were critical of him in the opening of the game, and Alistar was too, but fantastic early game so far from him.
Yeah, and he hasn't had too much pressure to deal with. And, you know, finishes the upgrade on his item. Now Fox could be in some trouble. Trashy's looking to prove us wrong. The Chains of Corruption land. Sencux and Trashy combo up perfectly, and Trashy secures the kill. Nisbeth comes in, hoping to clean up, but it'll just be a few minions.
Yeah, and obviously right now, Runeglaive is no more. We have Runic Echoes, which is
the echo of Runeglaive.
The echo of Runeglaive, yeah.
It's Luden's echo for junglers, for those of you that don't know. So Diamondprox has gone the AP build. A little bit more damage, and that makes sense when you've got a tanky support and a tank top.
Yeah, builds up charges, then exploits them all, so look for more burst from Diamondprox.
So, those of you in your solo queue games, just remember, let's change his name. Yeah, he's able to secure that crab pretty quickly. It's only 10.5 minutes on the clock, too, and, you know, with that, Splycer's still down, still 1,500. The gold lead hasn't changed much there, but that could be a different story in a moment as Kobbe's up solo. True Shot Barrage comes in, he's going to nail the Poppy, not Kobbe, but this tower is going down. Yeah,
pretty early actually to rotate the Zed to the top lane. I think this is more of a catch-up move. It's too early to put Fox split push to you already. Probably going to send Steelback back there already. You want both tier 1s down once you move a Zed to the side lane. You really want that distance.
That Raptor really didn't like Steelback. Killed all his friends, I can imagine. Sencux secures the blue with the help of Trashy. Goes back to the mid lane. We'll take stock of where we're at with the CSing right now, because Wunderwear has been held in check versus Chachi. Admittedly, there's been some help in the form of Diamondprox.
He's built up his core though.
But yeah.
Here in Catalyst finish, and that's honestly Ryze players generally happy with that. 1 def only up to 12 minutes, get the core items. Late game, absolute powerhouse. Remember, we have a tier being built on the Varus in mid by Sencux as well. Tier compositions are okay with being slightly down in the early game, or at least they used to be in summer. We'll have to see how it affects their mid game in this more rampant, like quicker paced games that we have right now.
We got a Rift Tail, Trevo. Diamondprox and Hylissang will combo up, and again, this is the Runic Echoes. He's got so much more damage on it, so they can take this one out. And because there's nobody in the area and they've secured vision, this isn't risky at all.
Yeah, and look at what Hylissang's doing. He positions behind the Rift Tail, where it's weaker every 3 seconds. The eye will open, you can clap it, and then he gives you 15%, I believe, of its max health and true damage. Makes it go down a lot quicker. So if you're struggling with a Rift Tower and solo queue, and you're 2 people, one of you go behind him, hit the eye. Otherwise, you may be there a while.
Clearly, Unicorns have been doing their homework. Kobbe now with Nisbeth pushing up, and they will find Vizicsacsi courtesy of Trashy. He's going to burn his flash super quickly. The culling comes out, but he can gray health his way, and he doesn't even need to pop it actively. Oh, no one saw that. They'll be taking out the tower.
They were like, Nisbeth, why didn't you flash Ian? He's like, my flash was down. No, it's not. Now it is. Anger.
There it goes.
Straight out of solo queue to the LCS.
Meanwhile, Steelback's still able to do a little bit of work of his own, so they just keep trading back and forth. 2-2 on the tower objective. Sencux says, no, that's my jungle.
Actually, that's not what happened. Probably Nisbeth. Oh, this happens so often as a support. He's like, I'm going to be a nice support. I'm going to time the top laner's flash. So you enter your chat, you press F, and then you put the timer. If you forget to press the chat, yep, that's when you flash. So be careful with your timers. That's painful.
The Kench. Chachi, Hilly, and Fox are all on the mid side. It looks like they're looking to get a party started. On the side of Splyce, they are bringing 4 members to that party, so there's a slight number advantage, and that means Unicorns will not try to push this wave for the time being. Sencux has actually been fairly impressive on this Varus. Apart from the big all-in that Fox almost was able to nail him on, which he did outplay admittedly, he's done a really good job of nailing him when comboed with Trashy the one time he came to the mid lane. He's been able to stay safe against, as we talked about, a losing matchup. He's also amassed a CS lead. It's about 10, but still, that's impressive.
Well, Sencux did fine, obviously, and he's only scaling to this game. Wunderwear is still scaling to the game. There's only a 2,000 gold lead, which has been there pretty much the entire time for the Unicorns. So they need to look to expand this or for some map openings right now. Trashy under pressure here by Diamondprox with the Rift Herald buff. Not much going down. Can they stop Fox here in the side lanes? That's what we need to look for. They have a long lane. Both tier 1s are down. A lot of wiggle room for that Zed.
We got to think who you can send against him at this point. Wunderwear, maybe, but Sencux and Kobbe, I don't think are going to work solo-wise in that long lane. And now you see Diamondprox starting up this Drake.
Yeah, Wunderwear definitely wants to keep the wave close to his tower. Don't overextend for the Zed. That means Fox obviously has the opportunity to go mid. So we need to see how well Splyce can wave clear in uneven numbers. Once Fox does go to mid lane, threatens the flank. Can Wunderwear keep that wave close, or does he have to push out? That's when the risk kicks in.
For Splyce's side too, you know, we've seen them change a little bit over the time, not just obviously changing their jungler, obvious, out for Trashy, but when they were in Challenger Series, this was a team that was very fixated on dragon control, on making the late game. It was a different meta back then, but Unicorns were the ones who secured that first dragon. They also got that Rift Herald. Splyce are playing much more lane-oriented at this point, and trying to get themselves up to a power spike where they can then start forcing fights. You can see Nisbeth roaming around pretty much everywhere. Steelback will get locked up. He does manage to E away, takes another shot from the arrow. Hylissang was in the background.
That was a reaction play because Splyce, they want to make some aggression in the lanes because Unicorns of Love right now are warding up the enemy jungle. 2 deep wards placed here already to really facilitate that split push for Fox. That's in lock. That's in motion right now. So right now, they're going to try and siege mid, force the Unicorns of Love to go back into vision so they can't make any picks with that Zed.
Speaking of Zed, he's going to walk right on the ward, or not really.
Yeah.
As he dodges it at the last second. He's still pinged. They know exactly where he is. Splyce are not keen to give him an opportunity to open up on other AD carries. But he might be going for the Ryze. Instantly goes on in. Wunderwear flashes it away from most of the damage. Still gets procced on the death mark, but stays alive.
Yeah, and you see it right here. The wave's really far away from the tower. Wunderwear had no business pathing that way. Slight mistake here. Good reaction from Splyce, opening up the chains of corruption to really force Unicorns of Love to reveal themselves. But then in pathing back to bottom, a little misplay there by Wunderwear cost his flash.
And comparing these two junglers, we talked about it earlier on in the game. Trashy definitely didn't have as much of an early impact as Diamondprox, but he has been in the right place at the right time for Sencux and to defend the lanes. As Hylissang gets knocked up against the wall, he goes in, gets a headbutt pulled, and they turn it around. Steelback with a massive combo. Hilly gets knocked by the hammer. No one goes down there, but man, it was close, and Splyce looked like they bit off more than they could chew.
Yeah, good reaction by Hylissang. Poppy W came very late after the fact, so that combo should have technically been cancelled right there. And you see the power of Alistar Ezreal, 3-man combo, 3-man ulti. Yeah, pushed toward it.
You can see Sheepy smiling about that one. It looked like a bad moment for a sec, but they answered right on back. And Hill and Steelback definitely are showing some synergy there, and it's nice to see that AD carry support combination working out from the get-go.
Yep, definitely strong laning phase. Did better than Kobbe and Nisbeth did.
Yeah, on an Ezreal too versus a Lucian.
Yep. Nisbeth and Kobbe though, new to the LCS, took them some time to get used to playing.
Nisbeth had a little experience.
Yep.
But yeah, not a whole lot.
As a duo, new to the LCS.
Yes.
True, so that Nisbeth has a little bit of experience.
Dodge it out. Sencux with fancy feet once again. Diamondprox has been trying to live in this jungle for the last 10 minutes or so. He'll back away, doesn't want to pick a fight with Trashy. But the Unicorns right now, for them, you know, they're 2K in the lead. They've got some later game power spikes in the form of the Ezreal, and they've got a Zed who's fairly powerful right now. What can they do with it, Krepo?
Yeah, good map move here. They push top, so they force someone to react. That means the rest of the map has been being played by 4 players. They force the wave clear's flash in the mid lane. Fox is alone in the bot lane right now. Wunderwear will likely have to react with a teleport soon, or they're going to at least chip away some tower damage in the bot lane.
Exactly that. 4 members. Still damage from the piercing arrow, but Unicorns hiding behind their own wave of minions should be able to do some damage on that one. The True Shot Barrage comes in. Extra damage proc after the fact. Zed still sends the minion wave down to the bottom side. Fox is thinking about continuing to push this, but he knows that since it's evaporated, Wunderwear is going to be there in a minute. See if he can catch him off guard. I don't think he fancies a dive, though, at this point.
No, he doesn't want to dive the Ryze. He wants to push up the wave and threaten the dive in the mid lane right now. If he can target Sencux, take him out, maybe even 1-for-1, a lot of the wave clear disappears. Alternatively, the Kench can get Wunderwear.
And they brought Hylissang to the party. Instantly, 3 members on the Ryze, shut him down. 0-2. Wunder is not looking too worse for wear. Or I guess he is, actually. Yeah. I need to learn my phrases better. Tower's going to get taken down. So Unicorns make a power move here, and they send 3 to the bottom.
That was honestly a fantastic play. Vizicsacsi carrying Hylissang to the bottom, and that all started with that push in the top lane. Look what Trashy did. He pushes top, forces Wunder to react, then he goes mid, forces Sencux flash, then uses his ultimate to get down in the bot lane, carry over to support. Fantastic map play here from Trashy as a whole.
Yeah, it's an LCS veteran experience. Chachi's bringing, Hylissang's bringing. Speaking of Hilly, he knocks Sencux, but Nisbeth knocks him, and now he's up against the wall. Could go down here. Chains of Corruption. Nisbeth throws the W. The true shot does not land. Coling comes out. Unicorns are going to have to bail out, but they should be able to secure the tower, and they do.
So if you're wondering what happened there, Hylissang wanted to space out his combo. Basically, knock somebody in the wall, wait. Once they start moving, pulverize again. Works if they don't have flash. They just did it at the wrong spot, knocked him straight over. He wasn't trying to do the WQ combo. He was trying to space out his combination by knocking to the wall first. But yeah, wasn't really aware of the exact position. Straight up threw him over there.
The best pros can make mistakes at times. Still, they got out without any casualties. They got the tower. They continue to grow their lead, albeit slowly. It's about 4,000 in lead. Baron's going to be an option in the next half a minute, but it will be a while before either of these teams are confident enough to take it. Meanwhile, Dragon is coming up at about the same rate. So, we've already seen Unicorns take a Dragon, for the most part, uncontested, but they don't have the same map control they did a moment ago. Splyce is moving up to the top side, trying to see if they can catch Fox out, but he's already spotted that, and he's going to be getting out of dodge.
Still a big wave, though. They could opt to
or not.
There, takes the red buff. I like this move. Getting the vision in this jungle is paramount. They have to escape to the top lane, though. Fox used Shadow. He's
going to have to go in on Trashy here. He's got nowhere to go, but they don't have enough damage. The chains are on. Now they finish him off. Double teleports. Chachi comes in anyways. They're bringing Hilly to the party. He eats Sencux, spits him out under tower. Should be enough to take him down, and the Unicorns fire back on all cylinders. They're low, though. How long can they keep this fight up? Not before they take down Wunderwear. Fantastic. And Kobbe, Steelback, tanking the damage. It's a double kill for the Ezreal. Nisbeth's caught. Diamondprox has enough to take him down. Triple kill for Steelback. Chachi gets to eat. Can he pick the Quadra? No, it's stolen by the Kench. And an ace for the Unicorns.
Ace for the Unicorns. Fox uses Shadow, but baits in the entire Splyce roster. And honestly, that Steelback did fantastic in that fight. Still has heal available. Baron goes down, and this is looking grim for Splyce right now.
All of a sudden, Unicorns thunder ahead in this game. 21 minutes just about on the clock. They will secure the Baron with nothing to contest them, and let's see how that all started again.
Yeah, they're setting up for a siege in top lane. Fox knows they're coming, so tries to desperately clear the wave. But he forces at least a lot of summoner spells, and especially this Varus ultimate can't be used in the fight to spread around. And now Sencux is stuck in the minions, gets eaten by Vizicsacsi, helps his grey health. Hylissang is peeling, and just keep your eyes on Steelbacks right now. He's getting uncontested damage in the entire fight right here. And yeah, Hylissang and Chachi just tanking up so much damage. So tanky overall. Steelback gets to clear the fight. Vizicsacsi comes in from the back, and then it's straight up cleanup. So this fight definitely spells a lot towards the victory for the Unicorns.
Yeah, you said at the beginning of that one, used so much to take out the Zed.
Yep.
Yeah, they got him. But then all of a sudden the rest of the Unicorns were there, stampeded right over him. Steelback made a huge statement. Backed up by his team, but he picks up the triple kill on that. They grab the Baron. You can see, you saw in the smaller window just a moment ago that Diamondprox is able to secure another Dragon off the back of it, and Unicorns are just in a massive lead right now.
Yeah, and just as in Giants versus H2K, we see the same where Unicorns can continue taking pages out of the same playbook, and a lot easier by using the Baron buff. Right now, Fox can split push on a lane. Again, as Abyssal Voyage bringing people in, the zone comes out, easy tower. Fox can threaten the Ryze, and Ryze can no longer just focus on wave clearing because of the improved minions right here. So that's one lane that's already under pressure. You have the 4-man group with the poke from the blue build Ezreal that's pressuring another lane. So Splyce, incredibly rough. No answers really.
Yeah. This is where the experience comes into play, but the Unicorns, a lot of questions surrounded them coming into this split. And again, it is against a team that is very new, inexperienced on this stage, but they've shown already that they can function as a team, and they know where their power is. Right now, looking to siege on the second tier turret in the middle. Yamato contemplates this game in the back. It's a rough start for him, but there's still time for Splyce to turn this around.
Yeah, the only saving grace is that Sencux's wave clear is physical damage, so the minion buff from Baron doesn't really reduce that too much. Or at all, really. But the problem is he's just not clearing the waves with one shot. Another big poke here from Steelback. Look at this zone. Chachi can freely walk up and they can't answer because just like we saw with Zed, if they spend all their abilities on killing Vizicsacsi, the fight will be cleaned up by the remaining 4 Unicorns of Love members.
Yeah. They just really don't have any answers to this 4-1 that are coming out. They can't really even deal with the 4 members, even if they bring everyone to the party. Inhibitor turret's going down easily. They just keep chunking them out with the poke.
And then they back off again. They wait for Fox to either join the party or make his own little party in the bot lane. It looks like they do like safety in numbers. Fox comes in. They can brute force this inhibitor. They can also send Fox back. They can also shop. They likely have a lot of gold available right now.
Yeah, they've got such a safe way to deal with the engage too. The double QSSs on their side. You take a look at the gold that's split across all those members. In every role, it's just a big differential. About 2,000, 1.5 at the very least. Everyone on Unicorns, pound for pound, is ahead of Splyce.
Yeah, I mean the gold differential is about 10k. That's the amount of money that Unicorns of Love has available for shopping right now. So if they just back off, they put themselves even farther ahead. And even without having spent that gold, you can just see the ease with which they can siege and push and basically finish their very predictable strategy at this point in the game. Something we actually kind of blamed Unicorns for in last season, that they didn't really have any strategies. They had no growth to their strategy.
Chaos style.
They were very wonky. Yeah. Chaos at one point, just bad League Legends at one other point. But they seem to come in with a distinct plan. They had a strong early game jungle in Diamondprox, and they really understood the limits of their siege.
Well, and everybody did the job too. You know, Diamondprox, again, we were very harsh on him since he hasn't really delivered to where we know he had been able to in the past for a long time now. This isn't, you know, super carry crazy Diamondprox, but he's a 1-0-3 Elise. He did the job he needed to. The AP damage he was bringing to the team was invaluable in those early objective clears, and they've been able to bring their other members up to speed because of it.
Yeah, I would even call it super carry Diamondprox. He influenced every single lane, almost, maybe not so much mid lane, and the entire map in the early game. He grouped up with Hylissang, something we didn't really see from Edward, Ghostly Pepper last season, Edward now again, I believe. With Diamondprox in terms of jungle support synergy, and Hylissang and Diamondprox have already developed that warding together style, impacting the map. So far, good progression from the Unicorns.
Yeah, and they managed to make some good use out of that Baron, as you can see. That's the way they've extended the gold lead. The Baron power play, about 4,000 ahead of where they were before taking that, and that was all off the back of that big fight in the favor of Steelback up in the top, and you can see how much he's starting to sting. Sencux a bite out of his health bar just from one true shot. Just
some context on that number, the average Baron power play in summer for Barons that didn't end up finishing the game was around 3,000, so significantly improvement, 50% increase here. Nisbeth goes in for the stun on Hylissang though, but
trying, gets the knockup. Chachi's gonna flash, they turn onto Wunderwear, and he just melts after the fact. Diamondprox will get the kill credit. Chains are on to Chachi, but it doesn't matter. Unicorns want to end this right here, right now. No more of this messing around, they say. 2 members down. Look to start finishing off inhibitors. Get some more waves up in the top side. In the bottom side, they can try to end this game right here, right now. Hylissang's just going to go straight on in. Might have gone a little too far forward, but he gets eaten by Chachi rather, and Trashy should go down any minute. There he goes, Steelback with another kill on the board, and they don't need to worry about inhibs now, Crepo. Taking down one Nexus turret, a second one. The Unicorns of Love, you might have thought they were in trouble, but they take the first win. And they did it well.
And this is something we've seen multiple times today. Relatively low amount of kills. I mean, right now we had 15 kills in about 27 minutes, but
clean game.
Just so quick. These teams, they're ready to pull the trigger. Once they get a small lead, it becomes bigger. They start rotating around the map with really good sieges. Baron buff end. Like straight off the bat.
Well, they know, you know, you have to try and push your lead, otherwise the game starts pushing back against you. That's one of those changes that was made in the preseason. Knowing that these players don't sit back and they don't rest on their laurels. Gone are the days of sit back and farm until 40.
Yeah,
that just doesn't happen anymore. And the Unicorns of Love,
beautiful days.
They were lovely. I didn't want to bring up CLGEU, but anyways, it always happens one way or another. Splyce though, question marks for them.
I mean, it's too early to fill in the answers for Splyce here. They went with a composition that was very slow scaling. A double tier on your top lane damager, on your mid lane damager, and then a very skirmish heavy bot lane that did not get the assistance that they needed from the jungler. Diamondprox shut that aggressive. So Diamondprox, he shut down the one aggressive part on Splyce. So first he snowballed Vizicsacsi in the bot lane, made sure he was winning that matchup even harder. Then he went top and he shut down Kobbe and Nisbeth even more. Made sure that Steelback and Hylissang were winning, and at that point there was no more forward aggression left, because you had 2 tier scalers and a losing duo bot lane, and at that point Unicorns of Love realized that, went in for deep vision, started sieging. They executed a very good macro strategy, something we are not used to seeing from the Unicorns of Love.
It's a new day. It's a new